In the top stories, St. Kitts and Nevis represented at Caribbean Investment Forum. China donates $100,000 to aid Guyana in disaster prevention, and Maine police hunt Army reservists after killing 18 people. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Friday, 27th October 2023. I'm Scotty Sia Hendrickson. Nationally, St. Kitts and Nevis was represented at the Caribbean Investment Forum KIF 2023, held from October 23rd in Nassau, Bahamas, by the Right Honorable Dr. Denzil Douglas, Minister of Economic Development and Investment, who highlighted achievements, challenges, and vision for the future. During his presentation on Day 2, Minister Douglas spoke of the position and challenges faced by small island developing states in the global foreign direct investment market. He underlined the importance of regional collaboration to nurture the region's human capital as this impacts the global FDI. Furthermore, Minister Douglas drew attention to some of St. Kitts and Nevis's commendable policy initiatives. These initiatives have played a pivotal role in amplifying FDI inflows as the nation successfully moves from a sugar-centric economy to a more diversified one. 3 bills will receive their second reading when the National Assembly meets at government headquarters in Bastille on Monday at 10 a.m. The Right Honorable Dr. Denzil Douglas will move the second reading of the Consumer Protection Bill 2023, which had its first reading on September 18th. Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew will move the second reading of the Firearms Amendment Bill 2023, which had its first reading on June 12th. Attorney General Honorable Gath Wilking will move the second reading of the bill Proceedings of Crime Amendment Bill 2023, which had its first reading on May 25th. The National Assembly will be carried live on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM and participating radio stations. It can also be viewed live on TV Channel 5 in St. Kitts and Channel 98 in Nevis. It would also be streamed live at www.zizonline.com. Copies of bills can be found on sknis.gov.kn of the St. Kitts and Nevis Information Service under the section titled Bills. Kittitian author Carol Mitchell will be hosting a book launch event on a Saturday for her book, What Starts a Bad Morning. In an interview with ZIZ News, Mitchell, who is based in Virginia State, stated that the author has numerous children's books, but this book is her first adult novel. She shared what the story is about.
So the book is about a woman. Her name is Amaya, and she's in her 40s. She's got a husband, her son, her ailing aunt, and she thinks she's got everything together, like many of us do. She lives in Virginia. And then right at the very beginning of the book, she has an encounter with someone who claims to be her sister, but she knows it's impossible because the woman is much younger than she is. But that meeting triggers a number of events which lead to her remembering her past. And it turns out that she's repressed memories of an event that happened when she was 18 and sort of recreated new memories over that. And the book is about her remembering those, uncovering those in reverse chronological order, taking her back to Jamaica, where she eventually uncovers the truth.
Mitchell also spoke about how the title of the book came about.
The book originally in my head was called Amaya's Gardens. There's a trend throughout the book of gardens where for her, gardens, as she moves, she migrates from Jamaica to Trinidad to Washington, D.C., and then to Virginia. And as she moves, she starts gardens, and it's her way of trying to connect and root herself into each of the new places that she goes to. And so for a long time, that's how it lived in my head. And then the publisher decided that was a bit too innocuous. It wasn't a very interesting title, and I immediately wanted to call it "What's That Bad Morning," because the whole idea is that it's a Jamaican proverb, as you mentioned, "What start bad morning can't end good or evening." The idea being that if it starts out badly, it's not, unless you sort things out. And that's kind of Amaya's life.
The book launch will be held at the Shadwell Great House. Mitchell shared what persons can expect.
So the book was published. It was released on Independence Day this year, which was really very special for me, in the U.S. And I've just got an opportunity now to come down to St. Kitts to launch it here. And so we're going to have an event on Saturday evening at 7 at Shadwell Great House, which is not too far from here. Get to the TDC roundabout, take a left. And, I'm really excited. I'm going to be having a conversation similar to this one with Narissa Golden, who's a longtime friend and also a media expert and educator and just an amazing all-around person. So she's going to be interviewing me. So we'll have a discussion about the book. We'll have questions, and then I'll be signing copies of the book.
The book, What's That Better Morning, will be available for sale at the event on Saturday, Harper's Bookstore, and online. Regionally, the People's Republic of China has once again demonstrated its commitment to assisting Guyana in times of need. Amidst the challenges, El Nino conditions affecting the nation, the Chinese government generously donated a check valued at US $100,000 and various essential items. More in this report.
On Thursday, the Civil Defense Commission received $100,000 from the Chinese government to assist in the provision of much-needed resources for communities currently being affected by the El Nino conditions. Chinese ambassador to Guyana said the commitment was made by China's assistant foreign minister to Caribbean countries at a CARICOM meeting in Trinidad this year. In the future, China is willing to continuously strengthen cooperation with Caribbean countries in disaster prevention and mitigation within their capacity, the ambassador said.
The World Meteorological Organization believes that we are experiencing the hottest summer in history, and we observed that with the influence of El Nino, Guyana has experienced reduced rainfall, drought, and extended dry seasons.
She expressed satisfaction at the CDC's plans for the funds.
Providing water tanks, we can see here, water tanks, dispensers, and fire extinguishers for schools and vulnerable communities. These goods will be positioned, I believe, at the most needed places as soon as possible.
Meanwhile, Director General of the CDC, Colonel Nazrul Hussain, said the Commission's primary concern is the impact of El Nino conditions on Guyana's population.
We'll be having increases with the lack of and scarcity of rain. It's affecting our water resources. So we're having more, the dry weather is affecting agriculture in terms of crops, livestock. We're having more incidents of wildfires.
Communities along the Suzdijk-Linden Highway, Kurukururu, and Swan have benefited from the help of the CDC. Renata Burnett reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
The Antigua and Barbuda government says it will be immediately establishing a rent restriction board. Cabinet says it is part of a broader objective to revise the Rent Restriction Act enacted on September 12, 1947. ABS's Philana Johnson reports.
The Act regulates rent rates for residential and commercial properties. However, Cabinet says concerns continue to be expressed about the rates being charged for rent by landlords. While some landlords are facing difficulty with delinquent tenants, Information Minister Honorable Melford Nicholas commented on the legislation during Thursday's post-Cabinet media briefing.
It's an old act. But what has been absent, it's the board. So even under the circumstances, the Minister of Trade did make representation for the appointment of the board. But he was quickly enjoined by the Attorney General, who indicate that the technicians are furtively working now on the review of the legislation, notwithstanding the existing law, though limited.
The minister explains there is a need for the rate of increase in rent to fall in line with the rate of inflation. He also emphasizes the need to balance the concerns of both tenants and landlords.
When the new legislation is presented, I'm sure that there will be an opportunity for public consultation on this particular issue. The government does not want to fetter the investment opportunities that exist in the market for rent, but certainly recognizes it has a responsibility in bringing some degree of equity and balance.
Under the current legislation, rent commissioners set the standard rate. The Act allows appeals against their decision and applies to all properties in Antigua and Barbuda, with exceptions determined by the Governor General. Additionally, the law limits landlords from charging premiums and restricts their possession rights. Philana Johnson